Here we go. We have a monthly chart on Google. It's a quick update. It's 11:38 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's 12/1 of 2011. Monthly chart. Oh my goodness. Monthly chart. And it's been a long haul, but we are right now printing at 613.80, and we have been featuring this, and we have had to short it. We've had to buy the dips every single time, but this monthly top right here, these trend lines are what we're going to focus on. This was last month. This is this month so far. There's only one day, and that's today. Okay? This month here is the part that I'm going to want to focus on. And it has a high of, in the calendar month of November, which is now past us, was 618.30 cents. We had traded it long already all the way up there. And then, of course, all the contagion and everything else, and the world was going to go to an end, not with Google. But Google got marked down to $561 and closed at $563. And here it is, right back up here at our king price. Why? Because everything that you were taught to be in was that beginning newborn weekly buy signal that you learned how to trade. That was where the turning point was on the weekly, and it was. And we all know that we have had to take it higher again. And it's been a great markup. And you're going to have to break through this top. Once you break through that top, there's another top. But they were top highs. You're going to have to break through there to get to that 620.90 level, to get into that 622.5 to 623 area. When you break it, you got to go through those resistance levels to get to those price levels. If we get a clean break through the top number one right here, top number two, and then ultimately right over here, top number three, and then the 2011 very top right here. So you got this top to clear as well. You must take out this previous calendar November high on the monthly chart to break up to the higher levels. You must maintain a daily closing price above the 612 handle to meet the long side qualifier. Short-term put options will be used should there be any contagionary or contagion factors from Europe coming into play after Ben Bernanke injected all of that money. Well, that should give us a little bit of support, but once again, because of that European stuff, we've seen time and time again that it kind of derailed the breakout, and you had to have the puts, and it went down. And that's the truth. We must break that high and clear right now. It's 11:42 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be entering in the next 15-minute price action bar to the last hourly print. That is where we would like to see an increased money flow from 60 million and an increased volume flow in the last hour of the actual trading day, going into a major monthly unemployment report in the morning. True story. But when you have the Fed behind you, the U.S. Fed injecting our hard-earned dollars in Europe, why don't we take care of our own people in the U.S.? For crying out loud. I don't know how well that TARP is going to go over. Do you as a taxpayer? Hello. What we're going to do, now that we have a short-term contagion out of the way is that it would not take, it's up another $14 today. We've been long every day. We're going to go for that last breakout to the highs that would take these 620 calls up that were 420 on the low and 950 on the highs. I just had made highs. With that next secondary breakout is where we would be looking at exiting these calls of around 13.5 by 14.20, depending on the breakout. If it's a strong breakout, of course we would take them higher. Okay, but we ran pretty darn good, and that last bit of mutual fund buyer must be saying to themselves right now, am I buying a quality asset? Of course they are. Google has underperformed in 2010 and 2011. However, 2011 is not over yet. Today is December 1. It goes until December 31st. That's when the year will be over for this name. And this name that was marked down, I know it was marked down huge. Here, it was marked down like we said. What a great buying opportunity. 561.33 is when we were marked down to the November low, right on top of that 10-month, nice smoothing out 10-month moving average, and bounce like a rocket to December 1 right here, working to take out that last November all-time high when we were having you get net long the name when no one else wanted to be in. And where would those wonderful turning points and price action occur during that time? Now, when we go to respect ourselves, we respect the fact, yeah, a 620 call. It was the same one that we were buying and selling up at $17. Yes. Look what they did. During these highs up here in the contract, they marked them down here to $1.10 on 11/25, November 25th. Today is December 1. Oh, yes. But when we look at it, we look at where that this markdown was uncalled for because Google was being liquidated because firms were having to liquidate assets for various reasons. Collateral debt was one, the other was margin calls and things like that. But once that markdown got out of the way, it's going to balance itself in here as far as the call structure go, because there was a lot of time premium in their way of stealing the premium. They marked that premium down. But this is where that premium was, and this is the important part of this, is right here. The high was 1150 back on 11/18, November 18th. That's on this bar. This is where that markdown really started. Okay? And then we're going to get back up into this level of this where that was. And let me tell you another thing. The high here on 11/17 was $13.50, and before we even looked at the 620 call chart, I'd already said that we were going to be selling up in there, and it just so happens to be that that is working. That is working. And if we can break that all-time high, that the third high would be where the fund managers would want to barrel in, because why? It's the first day of December, and Santa Claus is here. Is the asset worth buying? We believe it is. In fact, we have all the live trades that we've done on Google ever since we got that weekly buy signal. They're all live entries and exits, telling in the very front of that whole series of this whole trade that the MMT yearly apprenticeship students, market maker students, have been going through, and they have found out the reward in price action, whether it was long or short, within the longer term accumulative base before the final breakouts occur. And right now, as we continue to break higher, at 11:48 a.m. We are $4 away from breaking that monthly high here, and where it's time to get on board with those fund managers and drive your price higher. That's what it's about when you look at the broader part of the schemes. And, you know, is the asset on sale at 614? $63. It's been up. People have been buying it. They came back in. Once they marked down that monthly 10-month moving average with Europe, they marked it all down, and then everything was good as of yesterday. And look at so as the Europe clears out of the way, then Google's go back to its all-time highs. And not only does it do that, my friends, is where do you get the value of the markdown? Now let me tell you, my friend, here it is. 1150, that's going to be the 1350 high, and here's your other high at $16.80 when they had the original markdown. Now, one of the things that we would have to see is that all-time high will be broken. That's another high. You know, every high has a little exhaustion in the price section. However, it's very important that we have 296 intraday highs, and this particular breakout level within the level of the price action breakout is that the multiple intraday highs 10 minutes to the last hour. And why are we benchmarking these highs right now? Because we want to know where those intraday highs were going into the last hour of every trading day. Why? There's a whole big reason why. Info at stockmarketfunding.com. Info at stockmarketfunding.com. I'm sorry. Bear with me. I hope it doesn't aggravate you. We want to know in the next 10 minutes how many more highs we make. Because the last highs, if we can exceed and break this up to about 360 highs, we can easily hit, and we're not in the last hour. Remember, we still have 10 more minutes. We could take this November calendar 2011 high out up there at 618. It's here. It's live. It's now. It's all about the bid, it's all about the ask, it's all about why in the price action model. And all the calls have paid very well. Now, when we do break out, we would like to see where we get marked back up here, because this was a total markdown. This was total manipulation. This was total Europe. This was total everything. And that wasn't the company of Google. No. Nor was that markdown. Why should they be responsible for it? If they're a good company and that trend is like SMF says. Remember, we pointed it out from day one. And it's all live on stockmarketfunding.com. Newest to oldest, oldest to newest, whatever you want to see there. From the time that weekly buy signal is hit. And what you're going to take a look at is how you break that 618 high. Period. And just remember, your 8 minutes, your 296 intraday highs, MMTs. And yes, the calls were marked down. Yes, they're up here. They can get marked down. There's still some room for some profits based on how this monthly bar would take out the previous month's high and shoot right through that monthly resistance level, challenging this high on these wicks here, and that the body is bullish of the lower monthly price because it's sitting on top of that November body of the price here. It's sitting right on top of it, even though it's only day one. But I could tell you one thing right now, you couldn't ask for a better way to start out that month as they take them calls right here on them 620s higher, not to mention all the other ones. It's all about understanding where, when, why, underperforming, outperforming, asset, what's it worth, Why is it going to succeed outside of all the volatilities that can get in the way, as you all know? But why would it outperform other internet stocks in the sector in 2012 as we had forecasted a couple of months ago, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, whatever case is? It's all there. It's all live, that forecast. And time stamped. Oh, yeah. So, forward looking, even in a slower economy, what is the asset worth? Have they peaked in their, have they matured totally in their business plan yet? Or is there a lot more maturity levels left within their build out cycles that would increase revenues and free cash flow again? Let's think about that. One thing that we're going to go back to is why it's so important to understand the quality. But what was the original markdown? This was all marked down with the contagion. We're just now getting back to levels in here where what it's worth and where it would go higher again. And how to buy deflated call options, how to take advantage of markdowns, knowing when to buy and let it go back up. And let that trend work for you. You just made more highs, 305 highs, and it's already 6 minutes away from the final hour on 12/1. Happy, 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 happy Merry Christmas to you.